Hey guys! Today I'm going to be doing the Unhaul challenge. And I've been actually meaning to unhaul a bunch of books in the past couple months. It's just I've been putting it off and putting it off, and I'm just tired of putting it off. So instead of just unhauling the books I want to get rid of, I thought it would be interesting to do the Unhaul challenge and get rid of some books that I'm not exactly planning to get rid of, along with all the books that I do want to get rid of. By the way, if you guys just happen to see me from the waist down in this video, I am wearing stretch pants because I'm lazy and it's cold in this room, and I already dressed up the top part of me. I'm not dressing up the bottom too. But anyways, let's get started. Now, the first category is a book you rated low. Now, I normally get rid of books right away when I rate them low because I rate them low for a reason. Examples of this are the Fifth Wave trilogy, Keep Holding On by Suzanne Cosanti, and I actually can't remember. There's a couple of other books I've been getting rid of, and there's two books that are going to fit on this category that I haven't had the chance to get rid of yet. That is The Leveler by Julia Durango and Red Riding Hood, and I'm not even going to bother looking at the author's name because I'd have to flip through the front of the book, because for some reason they felt the need not to put the author's name on the cover. I guess that's because it was based off a movie. I don't know. I don't really care. I didn't like this book at all. I think it got like a 1.5 stars, and I just upped it to a 2 stars because it wasn't the worst book I've ever read, but it also wasn't good. And I gave this a 2 stars, and the reason I'm getting rid of it is mainly because if the second book does come out, I got to thinking about it and I probably will not pick it up, even though in the beginning I was interested in it. It was just too rushed and I didn't really care for it. I know people like to keep books they rated low. If they don't keep them on their bookshelf, they just keep them off to the side so they can reference them in other videos. And honestly, there are so few books that I rate low that it's pretty easy for me to just remember them and people will know what I'm talking about. They may not with these two books because they're kind of obscure. I've never seen anyone on BookTube read these two books, but I don't want them taking up space on my bookshelves, so I'm getting rid of them. Category number 2 is a book you changed your mind about. Now, I'm gonna take this in the way it's like you changed your mind about reading the book, or you read the book and when you read it you thought it was good, but then you changed your mind later on down the road. And honestly, there are a lot of books that are going to go in this category. The first two I have is It's Our Prom, So Deal With It by Julie Ann Peters. Then How Not to Get a Boyfriend by Allison Valentine. I got these both at the Dollar Tree, and I've just changed my mind about reading them. I also have here Prada and Prejudice by Mandy Hubbard. I have read this book, but it was years and years ago, and I don't think I'm going to reread the book, and my opinions of it have changed down the road. It's like when I read it, like in high school, I think, it was like a 4 stars, and now I think it's more like a 2 stars. I'm also going to be getting rid of the Delirium stories and the Delirium series and Panic by Lauren Oliver. So Panic series is up there and I'm not sure how I'm going to get to it. Panic series, the Delirium series. So I'm going to have to move this big chair out of the way so that I can get to them. I should have thought this through. Okay, so I have the Delirium series and Panic that I'm getting rid of. Oh, there's another book. I'm also going to be getting rid of 13 Reasons Why by Jay Asher. But yeah, I liked this book, kind of. It got like a 3.5 stars when I read it. And it's like the more I thought about it, the more I saw problems in it. And I kind of lowered my rating of it, and it was okay, but really, the mind space I'm in now, I mean, I just don't foresee myself rereading this book, and I just don't like certain aspects of it, so I'm just gonna get rid of it. Okay, there's 3 other books that I was planning to get rid of that will fit in this category. The first one is Mermaid Park by Beth Mayall. Then I have Just Listen and Along for the Ride by Sarah Dessen. I have one Sarah Dessen book on my shelf now, and that's the only one I'm actually interested in reading. The next category is a book series you won't be completing. Honestly, the Beautiful Creatures series is the only series that I will not be completing because I haven't started it. I actually got these on a vacation trip. I didn't pay much for this box set, and I've heard so many bad things about this series that I can't even bring myself to crack open the first book. And most of the things I've heard about this series that are bad, it has to do with the main character. So it's like if I knew that it was just like plot devices or something that were bad, I could actually find myself reading this book sometime down the road. But to have a main character that is so disliked by so many people is just like, I can't even bring myself to start this series. And I don't even try, because it's like the Fifth Wave trilogy where I started the first book and hated it, and I still continued on with the series. Whenever I start a series, there's something in me that always says finish the series, that it may get better. You may really like it. So that's one of the reasons why I normally wait until the entire series is out, or the majority of the series. But I'm not even going to let myself get trapped in that loop with this series. It's just gotta go. Next category is a book you DNF'd, and I don't have any books that I have DNF'd. There have been several books that I've wanted to DNF, like all 3 books in the Fifth Wave trilogy and Two Boys Kissing by David Levithan, and that's pretty much all I can think of off the top of my head. But I've never actually DNF'd a book, unless it was like back in elementary school and I cannot for the life of me remember those books. I've always finished a book. Okay, on to the next category, a book you own multiple copies of. And I only have like 2 or 3 books that I own multiple copies of, but a lot of them are like exclusive covers and autographed editions, and there's just a reason why I have multiple copies of those books. So I'm not going to be getting rid of any of my multiple copies. Okay, I was looking around on my shelves, and there are 2 books that I feel okay getting rid of, and that is volumes 1 and 2 of the Twilight graphic novel. My sister actually got me both of these, I think, when I was like into the Twilight craze back in high school, and I have since fallen out with the entire story of Twilight, really, because the more I thought about all of the aspects of that relationship, the less I liked it. So I'm okay with getting rid of the graphic novels for this book. Okay, but the next category is a book you will never get to. Okay, the first book I have for this is The Fox Inheritance by Mary E. Pearson, and then I have The Room by Emma Donoghue. I also have Alienated by John S. Lewis. I would probably eventually get to this book if it wasn't the second book in the series, and I can't find the first book, so I'm just gonna get rid of it. There's 3 books for this category. You know, I've watched a couple of these on YouTube, and I can kind of see why people say that they can't stop once they start, because it kind of is a relief just to make room on your bookshelf and get rid of books that you're not going to read and that someone else may enjoy reading. And the next category is a book you bought because of the hype. So for this one, I kind of started BookTube in 2016 when there was a lot of bigger booktubers, and those are the first people I saw, and they had so many books that they were talking about and recommending. And this was also the point when I had my first job, so I kind of went crazy with the book buying. So pretty much like 80% of my shelves now are books I bought because of the hype. But these that I'm going to get rid of, I bought and regretted immediately buying them, even though I didn't pay much for them, because of the content. But I still bought them because of the hype around them. The first one that I won't get a lot of hate for, probably, is My True Love Gave to Me by a whole slew of authors, and I was going to read this book actually during a readathon a few months ago, but I didn't end up taking part in the readathon, so it never got read, and I'm just tired of attempting to start this book and it just never happening. So I'm getting rid of it. Then next I have Let It Snow by John Green, Marion Johnson, and Laura Miracle. Then I have The Fault in Our Stars and Paper Towns by John Green. One, I hate this flipping cover. And this one I have an audiobook, and I will be keeping the audiobook just in case down the road I want to read this book. But I have 2 family members that have died from cancer, and I have 3 family members that are currently fighting cancer. So I don't think I'm ever going to read this book just because of my history with cancer. It's just not going to happen. Paper Towns, I'm just getting rid of because, you know, I haven't heard a lot of good things about it. I've heard mixed reviews about it, really, more on the negative side, and it doesn't seem like my kind of read. This one, I didn't know at first that it was like 3 different stories. I thought it was like 1 story, 3 authors, something like that. I mean, that's been done before. But 3 short stories, I'm not really into. If I want to read a short story, I'll get on fan fiction. Kind of the same bet I have with the anthologies. It's like I'm not an anthology person. It's like if I wanted to read fan fiction, I would read fan fiction. And yes, I know this technically isn't fan fiction because they're all original characters, original stories, and all that crap. But you can also read that on fan fiction as well, or Wattpad, depending on which platform you prefer. Next up is a book you bought because of the cover. Now, a lot of books could go to this. But I mean, normally, if I buy a book, at least nowadays, I have to have some kind of interest in it, or I've heard a lot of good things about it from people I trust before I get it. But there was a point in time where I bought a lot of books because of the cover. One of them is Ripple by Mandy Habarb, and I read this book like at the start of my booktube career, and I had read Pride and Prejudice before this book and liked it, so I gave this one a try. And my opinions on this book still stand. I really did enjoy the book, and I thought it was done very well, but at the same time, it's like I don't think I'm going to reread this book ever. All the other books I've bought because of the cover, I still have somewhat of an interest in, so I'm going to like hang on to them for a little longer, and I don't feel guilty about doing that because I'm getting rid of a lot of books right now. Next category is a book you know nothing about, and I try to stay spoiler free about a lot of books, especially if they're about something that I really like Beyond a Darkened Shore. I don't really know anything about that book besides it's about Celtic and Norse mythology, so books like that could count, but I still have an interest in those books. But I do have 3 books that when I bought them I knew about them, and it's like since then I've like completely forgot. The first one is All American Girl by Meg Cabot, and I mainly bought this because she wrote the Princess Diaries series. Then I have 0.4 by Mike Lester, and this book is part of a series. I can't find the rest of the book in the series, even though I've been looking for like a year now, and since then I've forgotten everything about it except that it's supposed to be told in like video recordings, and I've just kind of lost interest. And then I have Dangerous Boys by Mandy Habarb, and this book, if I remember correctly, is some kind of love triangle, and I don't think that can be done well, and it's such a short book. If it's not about a love triangle, I apologize, but that's just what I got from reading this summary, and that was a long time ago. That's just the only thing that stuck out in my mind, that it sounded like a love triangle was going to happen. Another book that I want to get rid of is The Glittering Court by Rochelle Mead. This book, I think it's about fairies, that I'm not 100% sure. And I am going to hold on to Soundless because that's about Chinese mythology. But I honestly don't think I will be getting to this book. Even though I love Rochelle Mead's other books, it's like I don't really know what it's about. And I don't think I'm ever actually going to get to it. That's probably the hardest book I've gotten rid of so far. Okay, I think I'm also going to get rid of Control and Catalyst. These are 2 books I really don't know anything about either. Let's see. Okay, after reading a little bit on the summaries, I think I'm going to keep these books a little bit longer. Just a little bit longer. Because they do sound interesting. Anything that has to do with any kind of genetic mutation kind of thing I'm into. Let's see here. Next up is a book you didn't buy. For this I have 4. These first 3 I actually got from a giveaway on Goodreads. The first one is Just Like in the Movies, and it's by Kelly Fora. I don't know her name. What I do know is that when I bought this book, the summary on Goodreads sounded really good, and then when I got it and read the back, it didn't sound as good. So I kind of just set it to the side, forgot about it. So the next one I have is Juncture by Ken McBlain, and I hate getting rid of this because it is a personalized autograph edition, but at the same time I don't think I'm actually ever going to get to it, so why keep it? I believe it's an adult book too, kind of like The Woman in Cabin 10 by Ruth Ware. And this one I really was interested in, but after hearing people say that the mystery of this book was so poorly done, I can't bring myself to pick up this book. And lastly, I have Low Red Moon by Ivy Durbin, and my sister actually got this for me one year for Christmas, and even though I hate getting rid of any kind of gifts, it is taking up space on my bookshelf, and I have already read and really enjoyed this book, and I can't find the second book to the series, so it's no use me hanging on to it, other than like sentimental value. Now I'm just gonna do a bonus round and like go through my shelves and like pick up whatever other books I feel like I want to get rid of. I kind of want to get rid of Rebel Belle, Miss Mayhem, and Lady Renegades, but I've spent a lot of money on those books and I don't want to get rid of them yet. I at least want to try to read them first. And I have 2 copies of Vampire Academy, so I could get rid of the one with the ugly cover, but then I won't have all the matching covers. So I kind of want to keep both editions of that. You know, I was thinking the other day I want to get rid of the Bone Season, but I read up a little bit more on them, so I think I still want to try to give those a try. And it's like I kind of also want to get rid of Allegiant that's back here, but that's like, that would be the only book in the trilogy I would get rid of, and I kind of want the trilogy all together. Okay, so there's a few books that I would legitimately get rid of if it wasn't like part of a series, or if I still, like a little part of me wants to give them a try. But I am going to get rid of Everything by Nicola Yoon, and this is mainly because I'm never going to reread it. And even though the book was very fast paced, I think I finished it like in one sitting almost, maybe 2, depending on what all was going on. I can't remember. But I do remember that I absolutely hated the way this ended because of the mother's mental health problem. That it just rubbed me the wrong way. So I am going to keep The Sun Is Also a Star because I do want to give, I do want to read another book by Nicola Yoon just to see if it's going to be a recurring problem in all of the books, because some authors do that, and I hate that. Okay, now let's count the books. Okay, there are 38 books that I'm getting rid of. And honestly, it doesn't feel like I made a dent anywhere in my bookshelves. Now, as for what I'm doing with these books, my library has one of those online databases, so I'm going to go through and look to see if they have any of these books, and the ones they don't have, I'm going to be donating to the library, and the rest of them are going to be donated to the local thrift store I have. So I gave my bookshelves another quick third run through, and I can't see any other books that I'm willing to part with yet. But I still think like 36, 37 books, however many I said, is a very good start to cleaning up these bookshelves. If you guys need to make room on your bookshelves, or you just feel like cleaning out all of the books that you know you're not going to get to, I highly recommend doing this challenge because it was very fun and very motivating to just get rid of the books that you know you're not going to get to. That being said, I do have a lot of books that I need to get to, so thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!